The conceptualization of being is no substitute for the experience of being. Thinking is not a substitute for knowing. So much of our issue as human beings lies in the continuous, the constant, compulsive conceptualization of all that is. We are flattening everything into the third dimension when it exists in a much fuller, broader, more alive perspective that is available and attainable, accessible for us to directly experience each and every one at every moment. And that is where the life is felt, is sensed, is experienced. That is where it is known how alive and connected everything is, how well everything is, how beyond description magnificent it is. The minute that you name something, you strip it of its life, you strip it of its being. You have turned it into a concept, a mental construct, which is not real. It's not real. It's an idea. It's a thought. Now you're no longer experiencing the thing, you're just experiencing the thought of the thing. You are thinking about the thing. That is not the experience of it. When you look at that which we call a flower, and you even name it a flower, you've already started the process. And you'll notice it happens compulsively. It happens almost automatically. Start paying attention to that. Just that. Just that. Just notice when it happens. And when it does, first bring your awareness to the fact that it has happened. Recognize this is a process taking place within your brain, not a conscious process. You didn't do that consciously, deliberately, on purpose. It just happened. It was unconscious. Acknowledge that. Now you have brought consciousness to the table here. And look again. Look at what is in front of you and try not to name it. If you name it, acknowledge it's happened, and then step back the perspective. Step back into the observance of having named this thing, and then from that place, look again at the thing. And witness it. Take it in. Instead of conceptualizing it and thinking about it, experience it directly. Feel it. Feel the experience. Notice. Just notice. Don't attach anything else to it. If you start attaching anything else to it, notice that you have done that. Right? Step it back again. It's a continuous practice. We are reteaching the brain how to function optimally, the way it actually was designed and intended to work. It's not meant to be running 24/7. It has no purpose. It has no function. Doing that only obscures our being, that which we truly are. It obscures life, which is what we truly are. And so, of course, we end up feeling lifeless or cut off from life or separate from life, because when we are in the process of thinking about life, we are not living. We're not actually living. We're not actually engaged in it. And not just it, but that which we are. We are, in effect, holding ourselves separate from ourselves. And it feels bad. It feels icky. It feels lonely. It feels disconnected and uncertain and afraid. And the way to get out of that place is simply to return to being. And that means you gotta stop thinking. Because being and knowing your being is different from thinking about the concept of being. Your being is now. Your being is existing presently. present tense, always. It is not in some future state. It is not in some past state. It is now. Those things don't even exist. They are just concepts based on an experience of the now that you remember, have a memory of. But it was in the now moment that that experience happened, and it is in the now moment that you are recalling that experience, so it's all still happening now. Same with the future, just a projection into an as yet unestablished now moment, which when it occurs will be now, and which you are projecting into now. So stop leaving the now. Stop leaving yourself. This is you, the present tense, presently being. When you separate yourself from that energy, it doesn't feel good. And the mind has been trained to compulsively do that. Just start unlearning that process. Start noticing when it happens. And start with observing that which is around you now. Your current present surroundings, your what is the content of the present moment for you? What in this moment is lacking? Really, don't ask the mind. Feel, ask your being, what in this present moment is lacking? I'm not going to tell you the answer, because the answer is within you, and you will know it by feeling, not by thinking. But when you know it, and you will know it experientially, it will be the kind of knowing that is beyond question, because it is not based on concept. It is experienced directly as reality. It is realized for you. When you realize the power, the potential, the peace, and the pleasure of your presence in this moment, in the now moment, which is every moment, and so any given moment, it is here for you, you will remember yourself. You will remember your full self. You will remember all is self. All is one. All is life, alive, vibrant, electrifying, vibrating. And you will know it, not in concept, not in theory, directly, in a way that is unquestionable. At first, it will be only glimpses. At first, it will be momentary experiences. Just keep practicing. You have started the dissolution of the old pattern, the egoic structure. It is just a structure. It is just a pattern. All structures fail. All structures are temporal. They will fade. They are not stable. And it is only continued because we've been unconscious of it. That's it. Once consciousness is introduced, it all starts to unravel. Continue introducing consciousness again and again and again. Every time you have noticed that you have left the present moment, you're returned to the present moment by your noticing. You've done it right there. That's all it takes. There are so many avenues into the now, into your power, into yourself, the knowing of yourself. Even the awareness of having forgotten yourself is a passageway right there. It is all right here to experience. We are producing a shift in consciousness, not a temporary one, not a drug-induced one, a permanent, organic shift, an evolution, an expansion of consciousness, one that cannot regress, that cannot be undone. One might even call it a thermodynamically irreversible process. I understand thermodynamics are not something we think to apply to something as intangible and non-physical as consciousness. But those rules exist because there is framework for them at higher level of dimensionality. That's just the way they express at this level, in physical form, which makes perfect sense, being that this is the physical level. This is the most physical level of reality. It is the three-dimensional space bordered by a fourth dimension. Things here are the most tangible as they can possibly appear. But there is much more to reality. There is much more dimensionality, many more dimensions to this existence than this one. And they are all accessible through consciousness, directly through being. Because being is not just multidimensional, it is omnidimensional. It freely traverses, it streams down from the highest point all the way here. And so through consciousness, we have access to everything. But in order to have access to everything, which is known, is felt, is experienced, we have to leave the mind out of that process. The mind is a three-dimensional tool. It can't go with us. It doesn't get it. It is not capable of and is not designed to comprehend that which is beyond the dimension in which it exists. But we exist and persist all the way up and all the way back around. And that experience, that knowledge of self, is immediately and imminently present and accessible simply by engaging with the now, by leaving the mental processes, the construct, the conceptualization, the compulsive conceptualization, the thinking out of the process. And how do we do that? Just by noticing that it's happening. That's where it starts. There is so much bliss for all to experience. Just be. Just be, and you will feel it. And once you get a taste of it, you'll want nothing else. Nothing else matters more than this. Truly, there is nothing but this. Realize the truth and the perfection of your being. It is all here for you. And it is here for you, not tomorrow, not yesterday, right now.